Hello, everybody. My name is
Slayer.
Tickle Me Tanner, and I'm a bit tired. I don't know why. So this map is called RR Railing Master version 2. So I guess so. So why is it called Railing 2? Maybe it's because of the railings. I played this map before, but that was on multiplayer, and as a result, I don't remember what to do this map. Did I complete it? No way. That was... Wait, no shot. So yeah, that sucks that I fell there. No. I think I'm so washed right now. Because of my voice and everything. It's just so tiring. Why am I so tired? Even though I didn't do anything, I just laid in my bed, cook, wash some plates. That's all. Yet I'm so tired. Why? Why am I so tired? Maybe because I played Mobile Legends 3 times and I was raging because some of my teammates are actually trash. Like, come on, man. You can't be that awful. Like what I'm doing right now, what I'm demonstrating right now. The awfulness of my gameplay. Like, come on. Come on, man. Come on. So, while I was playing Mobile Legends, there was like, I got 2 wins, 1 defeat. Luckily for the defeat, there's a protection card, which means even if I lose, the star gets protected. So I only got mythic. What do you call that? I forgot the word. And I can't spring. There we go. I think it's a bit laggy for me right now because I raise my screen dimensions, resolutions, so that the quality is not that trash, I guess. But the risk is that my FPS gets affected. Wowzers. Oh, this is an anti-elite map. That makes sense because I think I remember reading the description. So, on the campaign of freeing the elites from the oppression of Spartans, it's beneficial that many more players actually try to make more elite maps that's catering to both Spartans and elites rather than do segregation where elites cannot play. It's really awful that America actually campaigned and fought for the equal rights of both people, equality and everything. At first it was not that, but when everyone gets affected, people will are willing to fight and fix the system. And that occurred in the 1970s. I think that was the second feminist movement. Yes, I was reading history. The first feminist movement is about women's suffrage, I think, in the 1890s and etc. Right. So during the first women's suffrage, if you don't know what suffrage is, it's about voting rights. So women's voting rights occurred there, and fortunately, it's only for white women, and black women are still not included. I think it was Dorothy Wright. I think that was her for the campaign of for women, especially African Americans. I don't want to say the word, but I mean, because it's an N word and ends with S. So Negros. So I think that's what they were called. It's that name is also an island across mine. So yeah, I guess uh, I have an understanding at least. So about what do you call that? Feminist movement. Am I this trash? I guess it gets harder. Is this the only level? And then if you complete it, you get the jetpack. Well, at least I will continue to play because I have nothing to do than talk to this microphone that's floating in front of my face. Anyway, so yeah, women's suffrage. That's the first feminist movement. The second feminist movement is 1970s, where women were wanted like equal rights, etc. And I think the third feminist movement occurred in 2010s. Is that it? Yeah, the third is about, I think so, but I'm not really sure what occurred in 2010. Oh, it's about the campaign on what they call that, social justice warriors, the equal. I think it was also 2015 where they legalized gay marriage in U.S. So I don't remember, but I don't think it was under Barack Obama, ex-president Barack Obama. So I guess, and then the fourth feminist movement is about social media already, like Twitter. I think the ones that's example from our lecture. So there was a lecture of ours from first to fourth movements on women feminist movement, and the fourth one was an example of Korean women's and their campaign against South Koreans, patriarchy and just sexism stuff. Yeah, I think those are the examples from what I remember. I also heard of the I forget the movement. I think it's like a multiple letter movement. I don't remember the letter itself, but I do recognize that it was specifically that letter. Is it multiple N's? No's. I think it's multiple no's. I don't remember, so correct me if I'm wrong. So I guess that's what I learned. Pretty interesting, you know. So regarding this scenario, I was actually a bit sexist, unintentionally sexist, and what do you call that? Just misogynist. I think that it's the way I was taught and grow up. Like, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Philippines, which is pretty much a Catholic patriarchal society. Well, so in the Philippines, it's hard to see it's hard to differentiate what's liberal or conservative here, because most of the people are liberal only in politics, but their beliefs are very conservative. So yeah, I don't know what the correct term for it. Maybe it's liberal conservatism. I don't know. I'm not an expert in politics in my own country, which is embarrassing. But please enlighten me if you ever see this video. So maybe I should spring. I mean plasma. So that occurred. So yeah, in my country, I think the closest. I think my country is very open to LGBT, other stuff that's new, but I think there's a difference between being open and tolerating it. But the problem here is that they only tolerate it if you still conform to societal's values and the way they look. What I mean to say is that, for example, you are a woman, or I mean, you are if you are a lesbian and you like, of course, women, right? So a lot of people will categorize you as, like, this dominant women, rather than, yeah, it's a dominant woman, because they're still conforming to the male, where it's a male and female, where the male is dominant and the women is not, because femininity and masculinity. So it still applies to lesbian women, where I don't know. I guess it applies. I mean, I think all societies has this stages. Like, I think that's how in the Philippines is seen. Like, for example, if it's game, I don't know if it works for gay men, but for women, the lesbian has to be a tomboy a bit, so that it could be seen like, conforming to society's means and goals. I guess I don't know. I'm mixing strain theory, Robert Merton's deviancy and stuff. So while I kept talking, I'm still suffering here. I'm gonna turn off my mic. The reason why I mute the mic is because I don't want a family member to hear me talking. I mean, it's weird. I'm just so conscious. So instead, speaking right now on my own lowered voice rather than just speaking outright with tone and whatever. So I am left with, what do you call this? Audio. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, I guess. So once again about the lesbian stuff. So I think it is very important. I think my country or my society in general is still not accepting of them, but rather they tolerate them because of those that where they show similar. Wow, nice save jump. Where they show similar characteristics of what dominate with masculinity and femininity, even if it's applied for lesbian couples. Now, with that out of the way, um, I saw the Nepal stuff really, really like crazy because how the young people rebelling against corruption. It's always nice to see that. I rebel. Generoso approves. I think it's a different form of rebellion because it's about corruption, while in Star Wars it's about fighting for freedom and rights and oppression. So there's a difference. And I'm still trash. I'm still trash. So we're back right now, and I'm still suffering on this level. Absolutely embarrassing and pathetic. I think it's better if I take my headsets so that I could hear my voice and know what tone or the volume that I'll say or speak that could matches the microphone. Because in the previous video, I kept talking without knowing that I was so loud that my video, the North Korea parkour map, is just so gibberish and meme like loud, and that's not good. Yay. I managed to save jump. Yay. So I just finished The Boys season 3 and pretty cool show. It's actually showing what societies like superheroes are capable when you market them. The flip, I don't trust this one. I don't trust this one. How high? Oh my goodness, it's still far away. Wait, what? Oh my goodness. No shot. I'm back below. Well, this is beautiful. So I was talking about feminist movement, LGBTQ. What do I want to talk about? Oppression and rebellion. Oppression breeds rebellion. So yeah, what are the lessons that you should take if you want to prevent rebellion? I guess it could be like China, where they can silence everyone, but own against their own government. So they want to avoid that by providing the people the means, everything, entertainment, good life. That way people won't rebel or be against the system because the system will not oppress them as long as they don't fight back. So long as they are what do you call that, have the entertainment or everything that what they need right now, because once those are gone, people will rebel. So yeah, if you were to choose, would you choose a very good dictatorial life or a flawed life but still democratic? I would say I would choose the flawed life, democratic. That's because one day I like to talk a lot. So one slip up could cost you your life with injustice. So that sucks if you accidentally say something bad, even if it's a perfect society. Because I'm not perfect, so having one slip up could cost you your life. Democracy is that when it's corrupt, but there are other good examples of democracy, such as in Europe. In my opinion, of course. I don't think the US is democratic, it's a republic. Like the Philippines is also a republic, but it's a not purely democratic democracy. I mean, I don't know. Just too dumb to label it. I just like to talk a lot because why not? There we go. And I keep falling. I'm just trash. You know, yeah. Um, what do you call that? I don't know what to talk next. The things that I like from Amazon Prime TV shows is probably I like The Boys right now, but I think my most favorite is The Expanse. I watched it a few years ago. Like, man, that show is so good. It was also at the time where I really love sci-fi, and that show just blew my mind. It's just so good, so good that I'm about to fall right now. Uh, no, what the flip? I just don't like railing because I don't like being railed. Yeah, so yeah, getting railed by railings it just sucks. So I don't know if I can complete this. Don't expect me to complete a map. So it's about luck. If you see me complete it, it means I'm lucky. If I don't, I just suck. So yeah, um, it's just that when it comes to politics, no offense to people that prefer China, it's just that I prefer like a democratic where everyone can vote, because having a voting rights is just like just different than having someone with power to command others. In theory or in storytelling, I prefer that, but in reality, I prefer a democratic method. You know, I only like those in one man power in movies or fiction because it has the tension. It has the necessary that it should be the smart ones. It could apply in real life, but it goes both ways because real life is just unpredictable. Well, stories had to be consistent, which makes sense why you have to elect someone that's brutal. As long as they do, that's logical, right? Real life can happen that, but not all the time. People have their own agendas, so that interferes. No matter how perfect it is, it still won't work, in my opinion. So yeah, don't. Okay, I thought I'm gonna fall. Dogs barking. I don't know what to do there. I actually don't know. I didn't see what I was doing there, so that's partly my fault that I fell there. Not definitely not me being railed by railings. So yeah. What time is it? It's 10 p.m. So yeah, I still have like time before I sleep. I'm a bit tired already. I think the problem with me is that whenever I talk a lot, I don't breathe. So yeah, sometimes I get low oxygen because of that. I definitely should breathe every once in a while. So yeah. La, my FPS is dropping. This sucks. What should I talk about aside from that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think we should tackle the most controversial aspect in human history, Israel and Palestine. So, yeah, um, what do I talk about this is that nothing. I don't want to talk about it. I think that's the most divisive conflict and political stuff in history. It's just so divisive. I mean, I'm gonna talk about it. So right. So I think, in my opinion, think what Israel is doing right now is pretty wrong. They were doing pretty good in the 1990s, I think early 2000s, but I think with the extremist groups rise counter extremist groups. What I mean to say is that because of the extremist groups that occurred during Israel, Israel decided to respond with force because they believe that there's no other method that will work. So using brute force against brute force. And then you have one side that's trying to broker a peace during President Clinton, if you remember. So I think it was been for the late ex Prime Minister Bin Sak Rabin. I do hope I don't mess up pronunciation. And oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness, I forgot the name of the Palestinian leader. Um, yeah, I forgot her name. But oh my goodness, I forgot his name. The name that came on my mind was Gaddafi. I think Gaddafi was Libya. Yeah, so that was a different guy. But yeah, I think that guy. It was so close. But the Israel Prime Minister was assassinated by because of the extremist groups in Israel again. This is the right wing group. So they wanted, like, strict stuff to counter terrorism, while the peace side wanted peace, so no more suffering. So there's basically bad blood on both sides. Like, it's so complicated. But when you look at Palestinians, they're the ones that's suffering because they, like, again, they are in that tight spot in Gaza, and their lands are being slowly taken by this extremist group. But at the same time, when you look at Israel, it's just so complicated because they're surrounded by everyone, and when you look at history, it's just ripe for problems. Like, it's not easy to look at this because you mix moral dilemmas and geopolitics. So if you mix both, it won't work because geopolitics has to take place first because that's how the world works. Morals do work, but they are often disregarded through logic and choice. And this is why war occurs, because whoever is the victor will earn and get what it wants. For example, in history, the one that's victorious will claim land and you have nothing to say about it because you lost. Right now, that doesn't work, mostly because, but it will still work if the country is powerful and there's no one to what do you call that? Say no. So yeah, it's such a complicated shit show that's causing this cycle of hate. Attack on Titan reference. Just kidding. So yeah, how do you solve this? I don't know. I don't freaking know. Like, if I were the peace negotiator, I would probably scratch my head and balls. Like, this is the hardest thing that I'll get. No wonder Barack Obama's peace minister, I think it was his envoy towards Israel to broker the Palestinian and Israel peace, resigned because he concluded that there's a lot of bad blood and it's not easy. And he's right. I agree too, because how do you solve that stuff? I don't want to fall, so I'm gonna use a safe jump. I don't know where to go. Should I go there or jump from here? I'm just gonna trust this one. No! I wish I saved jump. Ah, where was I? Oh man. Wait. Oh, I was there, over there. There. So I was there and there, up, another up. Oh, I think it's quite a bit more. Yeah, but I was after halfway. So regarding Israel and Palestinians, there's like bad blood on both sides. So Israel won the previous wars, so they got lands, and before that, I think the area belongs to, what do you call that, Palestine? I'm not sure. So because of that, and then I think in the London something, the Israelites decided to move after the Second World War to their new home because they have no home. I mean, I think that's why they're so defensive. They're so proactive in wars because they're willing to fight their homes that they got now rather than, like suffer being moved again and again. But at the same time, they are what happened to them in the past is now also happening to Palestinians because they have no home and they're being taken. So the closest thing is a peace negotiation from the 1990s, but that was broken when the ex-prime minister was assassinated. And extremist group from Israel's side caused another fracture because they want to respond to extremism that's occurring on the other side. And the other side again, I'm not saying, I'm just, if I say other side, I mean both sides. I'm responding to each of the other side as an example. For example, if I say the other side decided to do this, which means that's Israel. And then when I say, and then the other side would do this, it's also Palestinian. So yeah, I'm a bit mixing. So I should probably correct it. So yeah, so in short, most of the lands was resided by Palestinians. Excuse me, I burped. Israel was given a portion of it, so the Palestinians wanted to kick them out because some of the parts was their land, and it was it was taken from them, so they tried to take back, but they lost. So Israel gained more area there, and as a result, I guess that's what happens right now in Gaza. But before that, I think there was Sinai, but Israel gave it back to Egypt after the Yom Kippur War. No, I think it was Gaza that was given back, because in the Yom Kippur War it was a stalemate, but it's mostly an Egyptian victory, I think, because a stalemate for Israel is a loss for Israel because that will mean an end for their nation. So they must always win in order for them to survive. A stalemate is not as bad as losing, but it's still pretty dangerous. That could set unprecedented geopolitical problems that is occurring, like one right now. But luckily, because Israel gave back the lands to Egypt, they're now very close allies. So yeah, I think there's also a reason why. So at the same time, it's very hard to look at this because many children in Gaza, Palestinians, are dying because of the bombings that Israel is doing. But if you look at it perspective, why did Israel do that? Because there's like a lot of extremism from Palestinians that are still taking hostages, and yeah, so you got both sides of the extremism, and you got the result of the destruction of Gaza. Like, dang, this is just awful. The cycle of hatred just continues to worsen and worsen. And yeah, that's why bad blood on both sides is not easily solvable. This is not a lot. This is not like your typical issue. I can just solve this. No, this is the most complicated geopolitical issue in history. Like, how do you even solve this? You have to scratch your brain head a lot just to find a way on how to resolve and let both sides agree to terms. But it's not possible because of Israel's, what do you call that, oppression on Palestinians. Hamas was born. So through oppression, another side responds with extremism. So since this extremism was born because of that, Israel decided to respond with extremism with force. So you still have continued the cycle. Like, it's so complicated. How do you even solve this crap? Like, lots of people dying and then stuff. Like, I think the only way to solve it is somehow both sides suddenly decide to talk. So that means in order for peace to happen, Israel must give up a portion of its land. But I don't think the current political situation in Israel is willing to accept that because their political stuff was the same that born out from extremism when from the 1990s. It's just so complicated, man. Even I get tired right now. So yeah, but there's a lot of children dying already. And then there's the fact that because of the atrocities committed by Hamas, Israel is doing that right now. But at the same time, the reason why Hamas did that is because so many peace processes have fallen apart before the 1990s, and the Palestinians just like we're done. We're done with this. It's been like ages. We wanted peace. We wanted what's our land. Like, can you imagine if some of your neighbors are taking your land? And it's just so hard. So the only way to solve this is compromise, which means two sides will have to agree and sacrifice something just to attain something. So yeah, but at the same time, the humanitarian crisis is still happening. And I don't know if it's millions. Yeah, it's probably millions of children are hungry and starving. So it's just. I just wish that one side or both sides would come to agree to terms, but both sides are extremists. So it's hard to talk them out because one side was like, we'll be damaged. And the side released the hostages like, oh, you're gonna kill us, or what are we gonna have to be leverage on? I get tired just talking about this. So yeah, I don't think this is healthy at all. I mean, it's pretty good to talk about it. It's just currently I'm depriving myself of oxygen because if I talk too much, I just don't inhale. Water's good. So I guess let's move on. That's such a complicated topic. Last time I did talk about transportation, so I think I don't know what to talk about. Games. I don't know what type of games. I only play League of Legends, Mobile Legends. I guess that's all. So I guess I don't know what to talk about because I'm currently waiting for the results from a license degree, and I do hope it will come out. I think I should make a conclusion on the Israel-Palestinian conflict. So, I absolutely think that Israel taking the lands was wrong, but they have no land, so it was already done. We will now focus on the present using the focus problem-solving focus, which means we're going to focus what we have right now rather than the past. Forget the past. We should focus on right now. So, Palestinians want a state for themselves. A two-state solutions will be the best possible moment because that means they could have a land. But if you look at Israel's perspective again, this is a problem for them because they'll think that they're going to get terrorist attacks because of what happened during the 1990s. So at the same time, we're now back to square one, right? No, we should keep talking. They should accept, but there's also conditions, guarantees, like and etc. that will not be broken. Because ending the war right now is better than just continuing and many more lives dying. Like cities in Gaza is basically just ruined already. It's like apocalyptic destruction because of the what they call that aerial bombing. But at the same time, I do understand each side why they do it. It's about oh, why do I keep falling there? Yo, I'm so tired. So yeah, this cycle of violence won't end if one of the two sides are not willing to compromise. So, but at the same time, I will have to say that Israel has to have restraints. They should be willing to accept at least what's reasonable at least. I don't think, in my opinion, Hamas is a good thing to be negotiated on because Hamas is an extremist group that was born out of hate because of the oppression that Israel has caused on Palestinians. So, like again, because of oppression, a cycle of violence and hate will never end. The only way to end it is to negotiations and compromise, which means one side has to be willing. And I think that should be Israel. I think that should be Israel's chance because they've been extremists since 1990s. And what I mean extremists is that the right-wing group is a bit extremist because they want to expand territory and etc. Settlements. They've been taking Palestinian lands. And yeah, I think Israel should be the one that will have to spearhead this so that the other side, the Palestinian side, would look and say, wait, are you doing this for real? I don't trust you. I mean, there will be distrust, but at the same time, it's a good step process. But I don't think that's possible because the current leaders or political stuff in Israel is just not in favor because of the trauma inflicted by terrorism, and the terrorism occurred in the first place because of the oppression that they did on Palestinians. Oh my goodness, man. So there is no right and wrong in here. What matters is that the survivors has to be saved as much as possible and condemn those that are not willing to settle for peace. I think that's all. Should I move on or should I end the video here? I'm too lazy to complete this. I guess that's all. Sorry. I do hope those... I mean, it's just awful what's happening to the children there. It's just awful. Like, man, being in their shoes and suffering in there, like, humanitarian crisis. You have both extremist groups, one born out because of the oppression of the other side, and the other continuing the oppression because of the extremism that was born from their supposed oppression. Ah, this is why hate will not solve problems. Peace and communication. But right now, that's difficult. Unless if you're an invader like what Russia is doing right now, because they're just wrong. Like, what the frick are they doing in Ukraine? Like, it's an illegal war. Justification that just because there's a few Nazis. I will say this. Does Ukraine have Nazis? Yes. But does that mean that the whole country is a Nazis? Is Nazi? No. It's an extremist group in Ukraine that has Nazism. And they decided to fight Russia because that's their own common enemy. So Russia justifying that there are Nazis in Ukraine, they should deserve to invade, is weird and outstretched because the Nazism in Ukraine is merely small groups, not the whole government or the people. Ukraine right now is very democratic. It's trying to exercise its democracy so that they can join NATO and EU one day. So it's odd that the reason for this extremism group in the first place is because of what Russia is doing during the pre-2014. I mean 2014 because they annex areas. So these groups became nationalistic, patriotic, because it's their land. It would happen to me too if it happened. If my country gets invaded, for example, if China decides to take the Philippines, I would be fucking pissed and be extremism. I won't be a Nazi, of course, but The Nazism was born because of the patriotism and nationalism because of what's happening to Ukraine, or what Russia is doing to Ukraine. So it's pretty crazy. So just because there's like majority speaking Russians on the Donbass doesn't mean that it's yours to get. It's stupid. For example, there's a lot of Chinese speaking in what do you call that in Vietnam. Does that mean that China has the right to take those lands? Like that's incredibly stupid justification. So yeah, I do hope Palestinians could be saved. I do hope Israel has to stop those conflict, and they have to come forward with the peace themselves, so that that's agreeable for both sides, and also condemn those leaders that is literally not listening to at least any peace and still continues this provocation, and also help Ukraine as much as possible, because what Russia is doing is just pretty bad. There's also others happening like in Sudan, Congo. Most of those happening there is the result of neo-colonialism or exploitations by powerful nations. So you got powerful nations like Europeans, America, and China, and even some like Russia trying to exploit um, the African Americans with the resources by giving them weapons and fighting amongst themselves. So yeah, it's not good because it's very pricey when these African Americans sell it to them, but to those nations it's very cheap actually. They're exploiting them. And as a result, the lands is basically ruined, and oh my goodness, man. It's really modern day proxy wars. Not really proxy wars, but economic proxy wars, which means they're willing to fund one side just so that they could continue with their. It's about the resources. In the end, it's about the resources, and I fell. So pathetic. Yeah, I could not complete it. I guess that's all. Thanks for watching for my apolitical takes. That's all.